Hi, I'm attorney Gregory Dell, joined by attorney Cesar Gavidia, and today we're going to talk about heart disease and other associated conditions which result in the filing of long-term and short-term disability insurance claims. Now, Cesar, throughout your career of handling and representing hundreds of claimants that have had heart disease, what's the single biggest challenge that you've found from disability insurance carriers dealing with these heart disease claims?
Well, I think the biggest issue and biggest challenge for us, it's not when somebody per se has like a heart attack and can't work. I mean, in those cases, it's almost like a no-brainer. The insurance company isn't necessarily going to spend too long on evaluating that claim and deciding whether to pay it or not. They're usually going to pay a claim like that. There's a certain recovery period for that particular person to get back to work. The question and the challenges for us come in where the insurance company has determined, okay, that person's time is up. They should be recovered and ready to go back to work by now. And I've had clients myself. I had a particular client who was very young when he suffered his first heart attack in his 30s. And a few years later, he suffered his second heart attack. And about 5 years after that, he suffered his third heart attack. And after his first and second heart attacks, he went back to work. After the third heart attack, he just couldn't go back to work anymore. And I think what happens is that the insurance companies, the disability insurance carriers, they neglect certain things about environment and work and work environment and work factors and stressors that contribute to the different factors that raise the risk for somebody having another heart attack or potentially like some sort of premature, death or serious injury.
So, like, for example, a claimant goes for a stress test to see how they're doing, and they can walk on the treadmill for 15 or 20 minutes, and then the disability insurance company says, well, your stress test came back with no residual findings that you could do that activity, so therefore you should be able to return to work without any problems.
Right, and the problem with that is that they're really just acutely looking at something. They're just looking at one particular test and judging and kind of almost biasly from that just one test that this person can go back to work. They're not considering, well, what is like the noise environment in this person's work environment? What are the things that maybe would elevate this person's blood pressure that would put them at a greater risk of having another heart attack? They're just kind of relying on that one particular test. They're not considering other factors. And stress in a lot of occupations are just innately stressful, and they're going to raise that person's risk of having another heart attack or some sort of issue.
Well, we often find that the heart condition claims are associated with depression and anxiety as well,
Right.
with the initial event being the heart disease, heart attack, hypertension, whatever it may be that's related, and then secondary they have depression and anxiety.
Right.
But what the disability insurance carriers try to do is flip it around and say, well, we understand you had a heart condition, but really that's not disabling at all, and now what you have is a mental nervous condition.
Right.
And what do you find is the problem with that? What's a disability insurance company trying to achieve by arguing that you are cognitively or mentally disabled and not physically disabled due to a heart condition?
That's easy. It's all about the dollars and cents. A disability that's related to a mental illness or mental nervous condition usually only exposes the insurance companies to 2 years of disability payments, while a disability that arises from a cardiac condition, a heart attack, arteriosclerosis, or some other cardiac issue, it has not to say an unlimited pay period, but at least a potential pay period to age 65 in most of these group disability policies.
Right, and I know that's something that we fight on a daily basis with these heart disease conditions, is to prove that it's obviously a physical condition, and secondary to that is depression and anxiety, so therefore you have to look at it as a physical condition. But one of the toughest things is that the cardiologists, they're not in business to document records the way a disability insurance company wants you to. So very often they'll go in and say, okay, your heart's functioning, you're not going to have a heart attack. As far as that cardiologist is concerned, you are stable. But stable from the standpoint that you're not going to die versus the ability to work are two different animals. And I think that's something we battle with every day. And what would you suggest to a claimant to try to make their claim better from the standpoint of their records being given to the disability insurance company?
Yeah, that's a good question because, when it comes down to it, there are certain things that they could do preemptively or, in the abundance of caution to make sure that the proper documentation is made, that the proper records are being conveyed to the insurance company. But I think at the end of the day, all it really depends on is a really open and good line of communication with your doctors, with your treating physicians, and trust there also. And if you don't feel you're with the right doctors, if you don't feel like your doctors understand or they're not documenting your claim well, then maybe it's time to go and seek out a new doctor.
Right, and I know a lot of our clients with heart conditions treat with a cardiologist and maybe an internal medicine doctor.
Right.
Often you have dual certification. The doctor will be a cardiologist and an internal medicine doctor. That was a doctor who really liked to go to school
Right.
a lot. But you often find that, but when we work with claimants, I know one of the big things we do is review the medical records and help the claimant educate the doctor as to how things need to be documented, as well as work with our claimants as to what they really need to tell their doctors so that everything's being documented so they don't get caught in the trap of the disability insurance company saying, well, sorry, there's no evidence, we can't support your claim.
Right.
So if you have a heart condition and you're considering filing a claim for disability, or you're on claim and worried that your claim is going to get cut off, or you've reached a point where your claim has been denied and you need assistance with your claim, feel free to call us at any time. We always offer a free consultation, and we really look forward to the opportunity to speak with you.